I want to welcome you all to Power Shift. Can I get everybody to say Power Shift? Thank you.
So first, who up here was a 5-star athlete?
5.
Ooh,
I
5.
have 4.
Okay. Okay.
I had 3.
Okay.
I don't think I had one. Bro.
Okay. Okay. You had any?
I don't know. We didn't have stars, but we might have been like a 1.5 star coming out of high school. No stars, 0 star athlete.
That was. So, what schools were like reaching out, knocking at your door, ringing your phone? What schools? Let me know. Let me hear it.
I was a late bloomer. I played basketball was my main sport, so I didn't do really a lot of football camps. So I started getting offers late, but like a lot of the local schools like UVA, Virginia Tech, William & Mary, and Penn State, where I eventually went.
For me, I went to the University of Georgia, but growing up, I would always go and watch the Shard play because him and my brother are pretty much in similar age, so I would be around this Georgia Tech campus. And I wanted to come here, right? And then I got a little bit older, got to see a couple more places at UGA, and I felt like I wanted to go there. Any dogs in the building? There we go. But I actually started playing basketball first as well. That was my first love. Went to Georgia, thought I could play both, but then you quickly realize time-wise you got to pick. And so just the dedication to one sport is enough, but I think any sport teaches you the discipline that you need, right? It doesn't matter what sport it is.
What up, Bam? Out of high school, so in high school I ended up going to the University of Oklahoma, so it was a lot of schools. I had Florida, Alabama, Clemson was the other school, Georgia Tech. I never really wanted to go to Georgia. I always wanted to go against Georgia for some strange reason since I've been little. So, I was a big Tech fan growing up since we've been born, me and my brother. So went to the University of Oklahoma, ended up transferring back here to Georgia Tech so I can be closer to my family. So the biggest thing I learned, I can tell you guys, is that you never know what direction it may go to. So y'all boys going to have a lot of things you'll face in your lifetime, but you have to be able to rebound, and that's why I love this event. So y'all have a strategy that y'all can use to navigate yourself while you pick schools and the reason why. And if that plan doesn't work, and if you fall on your face and that plan doesn't work, you always have opportunity to do something different and continue to grow in it. Y'all good? Absolutely.
And I guess so. Getting recruited, I grew up playing basketball, but I played all sports. And then my senior year, I started playing football, but I was getting recruited for basketball. But our football program was so good at my high school that coaches would see me because of all the other players that were on the team, and they were like, "Well, who is this tall, skinny dude that can run a 4.5?" And then my senior year, I was just really distracted. I was smart. I think I was undiagnosed ADHD because I did everything, right? I'm in every club. I'm doing literally everything. And sometimes they say you could be a jack of all trades, but the master of none, But you got to learn how to be the master of something. I was always smart, so that's how I tapped into finance. So.
So for those, so Dion, you mentioned, local schools are recruiting. So, and then you also mentioned you were getting recruited for basketball, but it wasn't heavy football. So how was navigating through not getting heavily recruited into football? How did you navigate to still manage to get to the NFL?
Okay, so locally, I went to Washington, which is around the corner, and again, we had so many great players. I remember Georgia Tech's coach came over, and this was after I had committed to Western Michigan. He said to my coach, he was like, wait, why is he going to Western Michigan and he has a 3.8 GPA? And he's like, well, y'all don't come over here. And they said, well, we came over here. We knew he was here. But how I ended up going to the NFL is when I was in college, I gained 100 pounds. Went in at 225, I left at 325. And when you're 6'8", 325, the league gonna give you a shot. So I got there because of size and athleticism. And so basically that's what it was for me.
For me, I think I came from a school called Fayette County High School. But our football program is pretty much non-existent, right? So it's even a miracle that I even made it out of there, got a scholarship, everything. We was 2-8 every year, and then if we won 3 games, we had a parade in the city. It was that bad. I say all that to say, I quickly realized when I got to college, like the more you can do, right, the better your chances are of being successful, right? And so I started learning how to play special teams. I was a corner, but I played nickel. I returned punts and kicks, and I really like wanted to make myself versatile, and I think I did that. Became the most versatile player in the country. But and how I translate that to real life for you guys is the more you can do, the better, right? Like I think we all are given these gifts and talents from God to cultivate, like I always say, but like continue to try to cultivate the other gifts, right? And the things that you are uncomfortable with. The more you can do, the better versed you are in being successful in this ever-changing world, right? It's 2025, but in 2030, the world's gonna look completely different. And so I just think that versatility is always a smart thing to do, and just equip yourself with a lot of tools. So that's something that I tried to do, and I think that's why I stood out at an early stage at Georgia, that got me to the NFL, and I was able to stay and be sustained because I could do a lot of different things.
For me, I definitely think, right, I ended up walking on at Penn State my first year, earned a scholarship, but the thing about me was I was very coachable, I felt like, right? I just was always going to be in the right spot. You're a coach, so you know, like, the one thing you want is you want a guy on the field that you know he's going to do exactly what you want him to do. An amazing play will happen later, but you just need him to be in the right spot, right? So I was very coachable, and I was able to take that right onto the field. So if we pivoted and had to change a play, I was smart. I felt like a step ahead because I also knew the game as well as my talent, and kind of how that translates, right? Just in the corporate world or just in your life, right? Like, can you take coaching, can you take teaching, and then apply that to whatever it is you're putting it towards, right? I'm in the tech field, so obviously we have to apply a lot of changing things with cybersecurity. But I think the biggest thing to answer that question was just me being very coachable, doing my exact job and being accountable. If it was 3rd and 3 and it was loud and crazy, it didn't matter to me. I was well versed. I knew what I was going to do, and I was just going to make the play. First down, here we go. And I think just all those little things, and then it just over time was like, man, this guy's really good. And that ended up being NFL pick from that.
You know, playing football, you got to be very structured, and it's a certain way you got to go about things and about yourself. So what is one thing, one lesson that you took from the game that you still apply to your life today, like in your everyday move?
That's a really great question. I'll start off by saying, like, as an athlete and a football player, your life and your day is planned for you. Like, when you go to college and you show up, they give you a playbook and they tell you this is where you're going to be at this time of the day, and it's the full day, 5 a.m. till you go to sleep at night. And that's time blocking, right? And so when you transition outside of being an athlete into whatever it is you're doing next, I tell clients and student athletes all the time, it's like, just erase everything that the team has for you and then put in the things that are going to lead you towards your own personal goals. And if you fill up each one of those time blocks of your day with things that are going to help you to advance to whatever it is you're trying to get to, you'll get it done. Because in sports, you don't have a choice but to get it done. When your number's called, you're up. So you got to get the job done.
Yeah, I would say that preparation is the separation, right? Like, the preparation you put in is what's gonna separate you. That's like your moat, and what a moat is like your advantage. And so, right, we talk about athletics. Everybody's athletic, right? When you get to college, you see everybody fast, everybody strong. Kind of like what he was saying in terms of who can take this and apply it to right away, right? Like the mental edge about it, the intelligence of being able to be a student of whatever you're doing. And so I think that was the most important thing. And then I think the second thing for me was like goals, right? I think statistics show that if you write goals down and look at them, you're like 52% more likely to achieve those goals. And so for me, that was something I always did. Like, I had a visual. I want to do this. I want to make all SEC. I want to accomplish this. And if you're seeing that and you visualizing that and you're looking at it every day, like, you got a goal to hit, you got a marker to hit. And so I would encourage everybody to do that, right? It's never too late to do that. You can do that in sports, you can do that in life, you can do that in relationships, you can do that in just any type of career path. And I think you'd be surprised that, like, you can forget about that list, but subconsciously you already planted that, and you'll see you really are on target to do that. So goals, writing your goals and being structured in that was huge for me.
You can also do that in your PowerShift app right now.
They definitely touched on, I think one of the biggest things is time management, right? That is a huge thing, so I won't go down that path. But another one, I think for me, is just not being afraid of the moment, especially as an athlete, right? You live for the moment. You get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? That translates into work. You'll see a lot of times in other spaces, people fall to the back, just like in sports, right? You know, the guy, like, bro, you gonna take a rep today or what? Like, you know, people that stand in the back. It's the same in like the corporate world or other things. Like you'll have trying times and people will kind of, hey, we'll be on a call for like 2 hours. I'm like, bro, you ain't even say nothing this whole time, but stuff was going on. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. You're afraid of the moment. So I think that was big for me of even being young in tech. I started off and people were like, wow, like he is not afraid. Like it's the VP on this call. Okay, whatever, here's what I need to say. I'm gonna be structured about it. And I think people respected that a lot. And that carried me a long way now. It continues to carry me now as far as people just being like, man, he is not afraid to be a leader.
For me, you know, one of the biggest things that I think I've learned on this journey is failure is okay. It's one of the most positive words that can happen to y'all. You guys are going to fail in life, man. You're gonna make some wrong decisions. You're gonna do things. Things are gonna happen to you as you go through college, as you go through life, and you have to learn how to rebound from it. You have to learn how to pick yourself up when you don't have your mom there, when you don't have your dad there, when you don't have your brother or sister there, and you sit in the room and things are not working out. It teach you how to be a young man, or teach you how to be a young lady to grow. And I think that's when you really grow. I learned a lot from the things that I've done, but I learned more from the things that I didn't do. Or like my mom used to tell me, the things that you don't do is the things that you're gonna learn the most, or the things that are gonna carry you the most. And so when you're going through your life, and me as an athlete, there's a lot of things that I wish I could have done differently, but I'm glad that I did it because it taught me how to rebound, taught me how to move forward. And so your time management, you don't get much time to yourself. So if you like to play the video game, you like to do certain things, it's another player that's not playing video games. He's working at his craft. And so I learned early on that if I wanted to beat you, I had to beat you on and off the field. I had to study harder than you, I had to work harder than you, and more importantly, it's your passion. What you passionate about, what make you wake up in the morning, what make you cry, what make you happy, all those little things. You put distractions to the side. You block out distractions, you just lock in on your goal. And as you're going through your goal, you're going to have ups and downs, but the failure is the part that builds you the most. It's not the touchdowns. It's the part that y'all don't see. It's the hard work, and I'm in the summertime when I'm by myself working. It's when I don't make my time when I'm supposed to make my time when I'm running. Those are the things that happen. So as you're going through the day, make sure you understand it's okay not to get it right the first time, but you got to pick yourself back up and keep moving.
Okay, cool, great. So, you know, playing football, that can get you in certain door, get you certain access without you having to be or say anything to anybody. You could just walk into certain doors. When did you realize, you know, football alone wasn't gonna get it or cut it for life, and you needed a real life game plan?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I think kind of my story plays into that. So the first part of your question is realizing when like the transition was there. So my rookie year, I was with the Buffalo Bills. I backed up a guy named Jason Peters. JP, like, gonna be a Hall of Fame tackle, one of the best tackles ever. So for me coming in playing behind him, I realized early on, like, I ain't never gonna be that good. So I gotta figure it out because he different. I wasn't built like that. So and then to your other point of access, right, and being in rooms, I realized that being a player in the NFL gave us access, right? Being a part of that 1%, 2% that made it to the most elite level. And if you don't know this about the NFL is the number one produced broadcast every year, the Super Bowl, right? Every year it's number one in terms of television broadcast. Everybody watched the Super Bowl. You watched the Super Bowl? Yeah. You did. Everybody in this room probably watched it. Went to a party. Whether or not they watched it or not, they was in the room. So that level of power behind that shield, which we all kind of run behind, that shield opens opportunity. And for me, I majored in finance, so I knew that, like, hey, what room can I get into on Wall Street that the NFL could give me access to? And so they have an NFL internship program. And so during my first offseason, instead of going to play in NFL Europe, I went to Wall Street, and the NFL set up the interviews. And what I learned after I got in Wall Street was that my first interview was in New York City. It was with Merrill Lynch. And when I was going to the interview, Randy Lerner, who owned the Cleveland Browns, was coming out of the building. And it was in that moment that I was like, I'm in the right place, right? Because it's like I always wanted to be in the same room where the owners were. Like, we got checks, but somebody wrote all them checks. 53 dudes got paid real well from one owner. That's a lot of money. So that's what I was going after that. And the NFL gave you access to that. And also you got to know the NFL is short, right? It means not NFL National Football League, but it also means not for long because the average career is like 3.5 years. So you have to think about what you're going to do next while you're in it, while you have that access and that privilege. So.
Here, I'll let somebody else go.
I'll say, honestly, it took me to get in the league to realize I wasn't making that much money. Like you talked about, I started getting in rooms with other cats that was really making money, right? CEOs. And to his point, we're somebody, so they want us around too. But then I started to realize for me in those rooms was, man, like these guys are like 40 CEOs making this. They don't need to be in shape. They gonna make this money until they feel like retiring. And I said, okay, that's different right there, right? Like we only gonna make this money for however how long you in shape and each year something. They were different. So it took me to see that, and then being in those rooms, I wanted to take advantage of that. And also just kind of realizing too, like I thought I knew what money looked like growing up as a young, right, city kid. You think you know what money looked like. I grew up Allen Iverson around the way, like, oh, that's what it looked like, your entourage, your crew. Money looked different, man. Like them folks don't even want you to know how much money they got, right? It's just in the things that they would do and say, like, oh, yeah, we just flying out of here. Like, oh, what time you got to get to the airport? No, I got my own jet. Like, oh, okay, that's how we living. But just different. And so just being in those rooms, I realized, okay, and how to get to that point, I realized a lot of them has some type of post-college, whether it was certifications, masters, or something like that. So that's what drove me to do more continuous learning after, because I said I want to be in this room in a different capacity after being an athlete.
You know, leaving the NFL, that's never, I don't really think that's never easy to finish the sport. You know, you love and you done played for forever. So, like, adjusting to not having that, you know, every day I know I got this meeting, this practice, this to-do list, this long itinerary of stuff to do. What was the transition or the adjustment like moving into the regular, you know, everyday lifestyle?
Yeah, I would say that that's a great question because I think every athlete, male, female, don't matter how old you are, at some point you're going to experience this death of your identity as an athlete, right? It could be after high school. It could be after college. You could play 10 years in the NFL, NBA, MLB. At some point, that ends, right? And that identity is over. And it's kind of piggybacking off the question you just asked, right? Like if you have a 10, 12-year career, right? You play, you make all pro, you make millions of dollars. You still probably like 33, 34 years old, right? Like you still got all this life left. And so I want y'all to kind of kill the idea that like I'm going to go and play in the NFL, I'm going to make a ton of money and I'm going to just chill, right? Like that's not going to happen. Number one, like God created you to create. God created you to give, to create, to serve, to do all of these things. And so that's just like a platform for you to do whatever your bigger gift is as you grow. And so for me, I think that the reality of that set in kind of later on for me. When I finished, I was like, dang, this idle time don't feel good, right? Like I don't think I'm just supposed to just be sitting here, right? Like and so cultivating those gifts now, like we didn't have this, right? Nobody was telling us this, right? We was figuring it out on the way. And so this is so special in that case of like you got people here that have really experienced these highs and these lows of the emotions of telling you like how this is, how it's gonna feel, the best route to go. You can talk to us, we a resource for you, but like you're gonna experience that loss of identity, but understand that like that's a part of it, right? Like that's a part of the process of you really becoming who you're supposed to be, right? Everything has its season in life. Everything has its season and its purpose. And the ability that God gave you to be an athlete, like it sets you up to be successful in everything, bro. If you can be an athlete and get up and get talked to crazy and lose a rep and come back and still have the confidence to do it again. Like, you can get up and do anything, bro. You can do anything. I'm telling you, people are not built like this. And so you just kind of got to rewire your brain to understand, like, if I can be successful in this, I just got to get out of my comfort zone enough and have patience with myself to grow, and it's going to come. Like, having unwavering faith and belief in yourself, really. That's really what it is.
I'll definitely say it was very hard, the transition, as far as most guys probably up here know, like, you don't really get to choose your time a lot of the times, right? And honestly, like, the NFL is like, hey, if Tuesday tryouts, like, if you at home on the couch, free agent, Tuesday they call you, they need you to be ready Thursday, and they working you out on Tuesday, like, they want you to be in game shape. So it's like, how are you in game shape if you not with a quarterback, if you're not doing backpedaling drills? So one of the hardest things was actually when you're done, like, saying, like, hey, I'm going to go get a job, because the second I say I'm going to go get a job, I'm not training, and therefore I'm not going to be ready to be, like, in game shape. There's no, like, hey, we give you a week to get ready. That thing is like, hey, you need to be in game shape or not. So actually walking away and saying, hey, I'm done, was one of the hardest things. But I'll also say, picking back off of him, as what Brandon said, you're trained at such a high level to succeed and to win as an athlete, you just pivot. Like, all right, now I'm going to take that and put that towards another passion. But I love what you said, man. Like, people think, like, you just going to play and then I'm going to be done. You're not even wired to be done, because you're going to be like, what am I going to do with all this time? Like, I'm a winner. I'm a successful person. Like, even people that make really good money, you're going to take that passion and say, okay, now I'm going to go and do something else, whether you're going to television, whether you're going to tech, finance. But you're just built differently because of being this high-level athlete, that you're trained to be like, I don't just sit at home and chill. Like, I'm built to do something.
And real quick to my youth, I know you guys are sitting here, and the biggest thing I want you to learn, you guys probably can't understand a lot of what we're saying, but as you go through next 3 or 4 years, y'all will be in high school. And get in high school, now you gotta find your path. And so it happens really, really quick. You're going to see us here today, and one day you're going to be in these seats, and hopefully you're doing the same thing we're doing. My job now entails I try to find issues with every single person that come through the door. So when I look at running backs, I'm going to tell you what you're not good at. I'm trying to find a way to cut the fat. So every time you think you're elite, I'm trying to show you why you're not. How good y'all think Bijan Robinson is? If he came through this door, he'll tell you how bad I talked to him, how bad he was, and he's so much better than I was. Same thing with any other football player. Now, my whole mental is to try to knock guys off. You're not good. This guy's not this good. This guy's better. And so my whole mindset has changed. And so through that, I still have to have the ability to connect with you guys, because it's the biggest thing to teach you. Even if you don't make it here, no matter what you do, you could be a musician, you're going to come to a point where somebody make the decision for you. That's the NFL. That's the last time I made a decision to play football for myself was when I was in college. After then, it was somebody else that gave me the right to play every year. You don't pick anymore after then unless you want to retire. And so you have to learn this early. So that's why I love this, because you guys get an opportunity to learn about stuff I had no idea about. The different fields. It's people that work all inside the facility. You can be part of the branding. You can be part of sports science, nutritionists. It's all different fields that you work, and you work hand in hand with the football team. You travel. You do different things. So that's why it's so important. The time that we get away from the game, I can't tell y'all. You like what happens when your mom or something take your phone or you take your phone away, don't let you get on the internet, or you can't play video games. You get real bored real quick, huh? That's how it goes. Same thing. Idle hands is the devil workshop. You don't have a job, you don't do stuff, you start to do bad things. So that's one of the things they were talking about. So you guys, make sure you have fun with this today. It's going to be huge.
All right, so I think we can wrap up the journey section of the conversation. So let's get into like the career side of it. So can all of y'all, can somebody like walk me through actually? You're a running backs coach for the Detroit Lions. We can't say that. We know a lot of those. Can you walk me through like the day-to-day, everyday wake up till you almost go to sleep?
Anybody here want to coach? Anybody here thought about coaching football? Okay. Thought about coaching football. Okay. So for me, I'm going to be real honest. The game of coaching football to coach athletes is all about the players. Players matter the most. And so you either love your players or you get out of coaching. That's the biggest thing that I've learned. My day-to-day, I'm going to tell you my day-to-day. I'm going to give you a work day. The game's on Sunday. Say we play at, I'm going to give you a game. We play at 8 o'clock. We play the Kansas City Chiefs. We play at 8 o'clock. The game end around 11:30, 12. So if I'm in Kansas City, we fly back. I get back home 2 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock. I got to be back in the office to prepare, to watch the film, to see it, to watch it with my players. But then I got to prepare for the next week. And so we get home at 2 o'clock in the morning. We back in the office at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So from 6 o'clock probably to all the way to about 12 a.m., I'm away from my family. I don't see them. 3 days out of the week, I don't see my daughters, I don't see my wife, I won't see them at all. And so most of my day is spent away from my family. It's been my life since I've been a football player, to be honest with you. And so that's my day, during the work week. Tuesday, same thing. I'm up every morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. Boom, I'm working. I get home 11, 12 o'clock at night. So I probably see my family on Thursday. That's when it changes. Friday is a quicker day. I get a chance to be with my family on Friday. If we play at home, shoot, I'm there on Saturday. So we get a chance to be home on Saturday and we play on Sunday. So the harder you work, and they'll attest to this, the higher you go, if you think you want to be the elite of the elite, the more time you're going to spend working. I'm just telling you like that. And so you have to ask yourself what's important. My family is important. I love the Lord. That's foremost important. And so I have to spend time in my day to make sure I'm doing those things that I value the most. So it's a long day, brother. So if you want to do the job I'm doing, it takes a long work, hard work, and dedication. Some of y'all play the video game 12 hours. Good. That's what you're going to have to do when you work. You're going to be there, you're going to play that game all day long. That's how it goes when you work. You don't get a chance just to have vacation. I don't live a 8 to 5 job every day. I wish I did. I wish I did do 8 to 5 every day. It'd be real easy for me. But I'm just telling you, you wake up at 5 o'clock, you go to bed by 12 a.m., and you do it over and over and over again all year round. That's really how it goes.
Yep. Anybody else talk about that?
The day-to-day. I don't know. My day-to-day is kind of
Yeah, Brandon Boykin, I kind of want to hear about your day-to-day too.
Okay. Yeah, I think so mine will look completely different from what Tashar's is, but I think the overall sentiment is like, if you want to be elite in anything, right, you want to have the fruits of life. You want to have money, you want to have a great family, you want to be provided for, like you got to sacrifice something, right? Like, so I think that's the reality of the generational change. Is like we think that things can come easy and instant and microwavable, and that's just not real, bro. Like the behind the scenes work that happens every day between us, your parent, everybody in here, like to provide, to have more than enough, right? To be plentiful, like you got to sacrifice, bro. You got to give something. You got to give something and you got to earn it. Like you competing with everybody, right? Everybody want money. Everybody want a nice house. Everybody want a nice car. Everybody want all these things, but what are you willing to give? Right, and so I think that's the change of mentality, right? Change your mind from what you can get to what you can give, right? Get what you can give out of yourself. Are you giving all that you can give out of yourself, and are you giving your gifts to other people so you can change their life? Because that's where the fruit come when you giving your gift to somebody else and you making somebody else life better. Like people pay you for that. You get what I'm saying? Like he's the best running backs coach in the NFL. The teams know that about him, so they're paying him to get that service, right? So like, what are you giving? And so I think that's the more important thing about it. And so for me, my day is probably like 4 days a week, right? It's not like as physical, but it's mental. It's mentally grinding. We'll be in production meetings for 5 hours. You got to sit there and know everybody's name on the team. You got to know their statistics. You got to know like what this guy, like his stats and this coach and what the game plan is for them. And so like, but you have to be able to spit all this out in real time on live TV, right? And I think that's why I liked TV so much and why I transitioned to that, because it felt like game day for me, right? Like you catching a punt in a stadium with 100,000 people, you can't mess up. This live TV. And so the transition for me was that, like, I'm on live TV right now. Like, people really looking at me, so I got to prepare that same way, and I enjoyed that thrill. But like the preparation of it is what takes the nerves out of it, right? Like if you play running back or you play corner or you catch and punch, you're not nervous about that because you do that every day. You practicing catching in them punts every day, so you confident in what's gonna happen. You know you're gonna catch that ball, even though somebody running at you 100 miles an hour. That's kind of like for me, like I know I'm not gonna mess up because I've actually been doing this all week. I know I've been putting the work in, so when the lights come on and it's like 100 cameras and the people are watching, I'm not nervous because I put the work in.
So now, like you just mentioned with, him being the best running backs coach, and that's what they paying him to do. So we're gonna get into that a little bit. We're not gonna say no business or nothing like that. But so being young and going to the NFL like that comes with a lot of money behind it. Can y'all talk about like the discipline it took to not just splurge or just blow it, and still be able to kind of eat off what you got or what you had in the NFL?
Yeah, so I can talk to that because I probably made the least money in the NFL out of everybody up here. Right? I had the least amount of money, yeah, so I had to stretch it a long way. But I was undrafted, what's called a free agent, so you don't get paid like as an undrafted free agent. When I came out, now they do pay the free agents. Yeah. So I didn't make a whole lot in the NFL. It was good, right? I think I made like $80K like as a practice squad guy in the NFL. So there was like 53 guys on the roster, and then they keep a couple of extra guys on the roster called the practice roster guys. That's the roster I was on. It was like he good, but he ain't that good, So we'll pay him a little bit. But like for me, my job as a rookie, I had to go and get the checks for the vets. Right, so the vets on my offensive line, I was offensive line. There's usually like 12, 13 offensive linemen on the team, and so my job was to go up to payroll and bring the checks down and hand it out. And so one time I was handing a check to one of the vets, and he was like, "Man, I want you to open it up and look at it, check it out." I was like, "Nah, man, that's yours. That's good. I'm good. I don't need to see your check." And I was like, "Well, maybe I do want to see your check." So I opened it up, and his check was $62,000. I'm like, man, that's a lot more than mine, right? And so he took the check, and he threw it at the top of his locker. And I'm 6'8", so I could see the top of his locker. He got like 6 checks up there. I'm like, bro, you got $250,000 in your locker? That's $250,000, $250,000 plus just in his locker. And he had actual checks. Mine was direct deposit, which I would encourage everybody else. He had physical checks that he had to sign. He had to endorse.
Yeah, put them in the bank.
It's like, bro, you don't have to endorse anymore. You could just send it straight to the bank, direct deposit. And so for me, that was a lesson to learn that, like, all right, if I got a teammate that's doing that, how many other people in the NFL just got their checks in the locker? That's financial irresponsibility because anything can happen. You could lose it. It could get wet. It's a lot happening in the NFL locker rooms. I won't get into that because this is a family audience. But the money that you make, for me, I learned that, as they say, it's a short period of time. And most people work from the time that they're come out of college, 24 to they're like 60, 65, they retire. So retirement's about 30 years. When you're an athlete, you're done before you're 30 years old, right? And so even if you make it to 30, right? Because you start off 22, 23, you done 25, average guy, right? I'm less, these guys are great. I'm like less than average. I'm like, oh, you just made it to, that's my story. It's like, okay, there's levels in the league. There's like guys who are in there, and then there's like guys that are future Hall of Famers. And so all of those levels come with a different level of money. And as a financial advisor, my day-to-day is like, how can we take however much money you're making and make it last as long as possible? And most times the assumption is, and people give athletes a hard time, it's like, oh, they end up going broke. It's like, well, you don't know the whole story. And I think that for me, having the pro experience that I had not playing for a long time, it was just a training ground for me to be in the position I'm in today so I could have empathy and understanding for my clients. Because when I was going through this, the locker room and players looked like us up here. And many times on the other side, the people who were in wealth management, or they didn't look like us. And so I was like, hey, I want to be representation in wealth management for my teammates and for future players. And then, one thing that I had to learn also going in is the media will tell you, oh, 80% of athletes go broke or file for bankruptcy, but then they won't talk nothing about the wealth gap and the systemic issue that leads to that. They focus on the athlete, but they don't know the athlete is carrying the weight of the struggles of his ancestors who had to work for free. And many times that gap is being filled, right, by the athlete out of the love that he has. He make the sacrifice for his family so they can be okay, but then it doesn't put him at an evil level ground to build wealth in the future. So instead of building, we filling the gap. And then because we are, or the athlete is in that position, their name's in the media, and they also living their lives. They're young, they're in their early 20s. I mean, you can be in the NBA, they trying to do Magic City night. A lot of things happen in the pro level, right? But when you're young, you make mistakes. So my job as an advisor is to get them to understand that, one, it's a short period of time. And it's hard to tell a 22-year-old that you're only going to pay for 3.5, 5 years, because when you're 22, you got this level of competition in you that's like, oh, I'm about to play for 10 years. I'm going to the Hall of Fame, and nobody can tell you anything different, and that's good, but it's also bad at the same time, because it's like your mindset is so competitive that sometimes you're in your own way in thinking that it's going to be longer than it is. And it's actually written in an acronym, not for long. Yeah. So you just have to plan for that life after. And playing with confidence, knowing that sports gives you everything you need to be successful after. Like Brandon said, like the level of competition that we have, it's like, oh, I'm going to win. I'm about to win. I don't care what we're doing. So, and then don't be afraid at all. So just go for whatever it is. If you can do it in sports, that mentality you have in sports, those same skills apply to anything else in life.
For me, another thing, just literally, I think what you said was great about don't think you're just going to play ball and that's it. The discipline that it took me was, once again, just getting in those rooms and just seeing like, hey, you think 5 million, 10 million is a lot, you don't even understand what you can spend money on until you're in that room. Quick story, I got drafted. It was a guy, his brother, him and I were the same age, we were from D.C., and his older brother, Vernon Davis, was a tight end in the league already. Day we got drafted, right after that, literally, he hit us up and was like, hey, man, we want to go to this island. I think it was a whole island that the guy from Virgin Atlantic or Virgin Mobile, Branson, he owns a whole island. I didn't even know you can rent an island and just go. I've never been in a room where it was like $80K a week or something. But you get the island, it's just you. So, right, you got to fly your people out and everything. But it's just the point of, you think that's a lot of money until you get up there and you realize there's so much to spend it on. So that discipline, what you talk about, is like, it takes a lot, because like, yeah, that sounded really cool, right? Like, they went, I did not, thankfully, right? But it was just like a whole thing where like, it taught me really fast, like, man, I didn't even know this was like a thing, like this amount of money that you can spend on these cars, trips, like just stuff that you haven't even been exposed to because you're not even at that level yet. So just really to build on what he said, don't think just because, oh, 5 million, I'm gonna live off it the rest of my life. It's not gonna work like that. So definitely have a plan B and just, be smart financially.
Yeah, plus gas $5 a gallon right now if y'all ain't noticed. So hey, you know what I'm saying? $100 don't go the same way it used to, and it ain't. That's over with. So I guess the only thing I would say about that again is don't be pocket watching. Don't pocket watch other guys. Because even in college now, right? Like with NIL, you're essentially making millions of dollars, right? And so you could be. You're setting yourself up for life, but like some guy is making $1 million a year, and some dude's making $1 million a game, right? And so everybody in the NFL ain't got the same leeway or link, but don't think that guy that's making $1 million $1 million a game can't go broke, because those are the ones that actually go broke quicker, right? Because you think that it's never gonna end, and so. I think it really just comes down to delayed gratification for me. I created like this system for myself. Like if I wanted something and it was a small purchase, like let me think on that for a week. Because by the end of that week, I probably don't even want it no more, for real. You get what I'm saying? If it's a big purchase, let me think on it for like a month. Because by the end of the month, I probably don't even want that no more. And so it's really training your mind to like not be such a consumer, because we don't need all the stuff that we get. It never feels as good once you get it as opposed to when you want it. You get what I'm saying? And that's with anything outside of marriage and your wife and family. Outside of that gets better. But things and items and stuff is stuff. And so, you know, them shoes you're looking at online right now on StockX, when you get them and you wear them twice, you like, now you want another pair. Now you got to get another pair to fit. So you're just feeling this void that's really not even about the stuff, right? It's deeper than that. So money is something to serve and enjoy, but it's bigger than just consuming. And I think that's a whole nother conversation we can have.
All right, so I got a question for you. So, you know, with you being a coach and things like that, you see different athletes every day in, day out. What is like one mindset that you see in a young athlete that really will hold them back from getting to where they want to go?
Wow, that's a great question.
Immaturity. Immaturity. You know, the biggest thing that I think is when you're in high school, or even when you're in middle school to high school to college, the thing that I've noticed, even I was at Texas and being here at my alma mater, Georgia Tech, is kids that are immature. So if your parents tell you, hey, you need to take out the trash, you need to do this, and you don't do it. You need to make up your bed every day. Something simple as making up your bed every day. You don't do it. When you get to school, those kids don't know how to clean up. Those kids don't know how to use their time that they do have away. And so as a parent, as a coach, I feel like coaches are very important in society because it's different from being a parent. When you're a parent, you love your kid no matter what. Coaches is a little different. You coach the player, you love the person. That's why I say it's a person and a player. The person you love. So when you got players that I'm coaching, I love the players. Try to invest in them, get to know them. But then as being a coach, I'm always critiquing them to try to get them better. And most of that is your lifestyle, how you live. Do you smoke weed all the time? Are you trying to talk to girls all the time? What are you doing? Because those are the things that keep you away from your focus on your goals. It's simple. And so I knew as a coach, Avery, I knew when I'm watching players, I can tell kids who, hey, this kid came from a single-parent household. I can tell as soon as he came through the door. Does he get stuff from his parents? Does he get stuff from his mom and dad? I can tell how that kid was raised. So then when that kid is alone and he's up there working and he got his family he got to take care of, those kids are mature. They ain't got to worry about being late. Got to worry about where they at. Are they going to school? Are they doing well in class? Because they were made that way. They were mature when they came in. Those are the things that I see. So when I'm on the NFL now, you get a kid and we interview him. I just finished the combine. I just interview kids. And the first thing I look at is to see how that kid move. Ask some questions. Questions I know the answer to. Hey, man, have you ever cheated on the test before? If that kid look at me and say, no, sir, I know he lying to me right in my face. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I like kids to be truthful. More importantly, be yourself. But you can tell a lot about a person about maturity. It ain't even the mindset. If I could tell a kid, hey, you got to be here every morning. You got to do this every single day. If a kid is mature and they want to be coachable and they hold themselves accountable from how they were raised, you can tell. And you can tell if a kid has been neutered. I mean, not neutered, but somebody nurtured them so bad where they can't do anything for themselves. Parents, if you out here, I'm talking to some of y'all, you can't do everything for your kid. Life is the biggest teacher. So you prepare them the best you can. The best you possibly can. But you got to be hands off for them. You got to let them fail. I'm going to keep saying that over and over again. Because if you don't, when they get to school and they by themselves, that's when they really see who they are. So they got to learn that earlier. They got to learn that when they're a little kid. I'm telling you, when I'm coaching players, it's so amazing when you get a kid, like he talking about being a free agent. I get a free agent, he come in, and that kid is mature. He doing his playbook, he's learning. Oh, shoot, he get an opportunity, and he blossom. Next thing you know, that dude is a star for the team because he was ready for the moment. He know how it felt. He was ready. He prepared for it. So you have to make sure, like, the maturity is a huge issue. When I see a kid, he got his pants all off his butt. He talking. He can't look you in your eyes when he speak to you. Shake your hand, look at you in your face, and be respectable and talk and not cuss every single word that he say. Those are the kids that I find out are able to communicate on the field when things are tough, not just cussing people out or talking one language. You got to be able to talk to everybody on the football team. And so I'm telling you, be mature. When they tell you to sit up, put your napkin over your pants. Don't put your elbows on the table. Clean your room before you go out. Clean your car. Those are the things that matter. I promise you. Because that carries over to how you live. How you do anything is how you do everything. I promise you. If you look at me, you look at a part of my life, every single part of it, I want to try to make it the best I can. And it carries over. So that's huge, man. Maturity. Got to be smart, too. Got to be smart. I don't like dumb football players. I'll tell you that again. If I get you on the board and you can't draw, or if I get you on the board and you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't like people who are not smart or try to learn how to be smart. It's cool to be smart. Trust me on that. I used to sit by the smartest dudes at Georgia Tech, and they taught me everything I needed to know. I thought I was smart till I went over here. It's a different brand. Some dudes are very smart. So being around people who are smarter than you, who are different, that is cool to me. People that can play instruments, people that can do different things, that can decode. All those things are cool. I love hearing about Walt, Dion. I love hearing their past because that is different from me. Me, all I cared about was football. You couldn't tell me nothing different. Until I got there, then I learned it was much more. Y'all good? So, yeah.
So, okay, so we do have various athletes in here that play different sports. And we do have high school seniors in here who are about to go into, college football and college basketball, whatever they do. What is one thing, or one move or one step every athlete in this room should take before, embarking on that new journey or, new way of life?
From going transiting to college?
Transitioning into college, from high school to college.
So I, as a multiple sport athlete, it's hard to kind of sometimes center in on one sport, right? Because I played basketball and football, and sometimes when you're 6'8", you just think like, oh, you're supposed to play basketball, right? You're tall, but when you look at the numbers, and I've always been a numbers guy, it's just like, man, it's a lot easier to get on the roster of 53 than it is on 13. So, I was like, hey, let me choose the path of football because it has a higher probability of getting to the next level, and that was pretty simple. I just looked at the numbers, and then also you gotta be honest with yourself about where you are in your game, and pro sports and sports in general will do that to you because there's always going to be somebody. You're going to meet your match no matter how good you are. At some point you're going to meet your match, and when you meet your match, you can't take it personal because it's not. It's kind of weird, right? It's like we've all had one player who just got the best of us, right? Like in a game. And you can't take it personal against a guy outside of the game because it's just a game. But what you do have to do is look in the mirror and, like Coach Choi said, look at your weaknesses and strengthen those so that you can individually become better. But it's, you're all professionals, but, there's a level of professionalism that comes in also understanding what your weaknesses are and what you need to work on to get you to the next level. Did I even answer the question?
I've been doing that too.
Yeah.
I might have went on.
Did I?
It was more like advice.
Because, I could just kind of. I just kind of said what I wanted to say, huh? I'm going to pass it to Brandon.
You answered it. Okay. It sounded good to me. I think one piece of advice I would give anybody transitioning from high school to college athletically, right? And obviously anything that I'm saying crosses over not to just athletics but to life, right? It's staying uncomfortable, right? Understand that comfort is a bad place to be. Being comfortable can kill dreams, can kill capacity, can lower your ceiling, right? It's good, it's just good enough, but it's not where you really destined to be. And so I think when I talk about staying uncomfortable, it's putting yourself out there to ask questions, right? There is no dumb question, right? Ask questions. Learn how to communicate. I think that's a big thing, right? Use your words. I know in this generation, we always on our phone, bro. Look up. Look people in the eye. Talk. Speak clearly, right? These things are cool. It's cool to be intelligent. It's cool to be able to communicate effectively. It's cool to be able to talk about your feelings, your emotions, right? And I'm saying this is crossing over across athletics to life. you got to be able to communicate effectively in life about like your emotions, how you feel, what you think. That's a part of like relationships. You get what I'm saying? And so when I say be uncomfortable, like ask questions, gain knowledge, continue to stay growing. Because a lot of times when somebody asks a question, they just the bravest one to ask it because everybody else thinking the same thing, bro. You get what I'm saying? We've all felt that before. Like, I want to ask a question, but I don't want to be the first one. Be the first one. Stay uncomfortable. That's leadership, right? Like, you ain't got to be vocal to lead, but you can lead by example, and that's just by showing up, being authentically who you are, being confident in that, and continuing to grow and have a growth mindset, right? Because complacency and like just good enough is like the killer of all dream, right? It ain't bad, it ain't great, it's just good enough. It's a lot of people stuck in just good enough, and you ain't created to be just good enough. Yeah.
Two things I would say: accountability first. I mean, going into college, whether it's sports or just school, right? Accountability, because there are a million ways to find an excuse not to get something done. Trust me. I was tired, I did this. Accountability, right? He was talking about it earlier. So hold yourself accountable, right? Be different, I would say. And then the other one is study habits, right? You touched on it big. Like, don't think just because, from an athlete standpoint, don't think just because you're the biggest, baddest around here, I promise you there's somebody in the foothills of Iowa that's a dog. And you get to college, you say, oh my gosh, what? So it's going to be, how do I separate myself? How do I put myself in a position, right? There's going to be guys that can jump out the gym, guys that are faster. How do I understand? And you know what? I know if they do this, it's probably going to be cover two, or they're going, when he's faking that blitz, I know this, I'm already ahead of the game. I'm thinking that. Like he said, man, like, if you're a smart player, I used to wonder, too, one of the things when I got to the league, one of the things I was like, man, these guys ain't fast. Man, they would have 7 different ways to get to the same spot that they needed. I don't care if you was inside leverage. I don't care if you was outside. I don't care if you bailed. They had something right off top. And it's like those study habits, because they already know, like, okay, I got 15 ways to get there, bro. I'm going to just see which one you want me to use. So study habits for the game, trust me, study, be ahead of the game. And then in school, right, study habits. Like he said at Georgia Tech, I went to Penn State, also different breed. It's some cats, I'm like, I just saw you sleep on a park bench at 3 a.m., 7 a.m., hair slick, got an A on the test. How? Different people, man. Know yourself, know your own study habits, trust me. Like, that is a big thing, studying and getting yourself together, because that, like I said, carries for school and for on the field or on the court.
And real quick, you know, we say this in college a lot of times. When you're in the classroom, who are you sitting by? You sitting by your friend who just as smart as you? Who gonna cheat off who? So early on, I understood. I wanted to sit by somebody just in case. I didn't know the answer to the question. But the biggest thing, we tell our players this all the time. When you go to class, you can't sit around football players. That's a rule in college. If I'm a head coach in college, I'm going to check class and make sure every single one of them are not sitting by football players. What that does, and just so y'all can understand, now we get our spectrum just being around athletes all the time. Now we have to understand what it means to go to school where they have to pay for school, but they're very smart. They're there for a reason because they are very smart. And so you learn about other people in their path. And all that does is it makes you more intuitive to understand that everybody made their own way. God made their own way to be here. And so you respect everybody. Like, you respect people that come from different backgrounds, no matter if they play sports or not. And so what I would tell y'all, the biggest transition I had to learn, they talking about being uncomfortable, that's one of the reasons why. You want to make sure you do things that you didn't do to help you grow. If you continue to do the same stuff you always doing, you get the same results. And so you have to change your day to day. You have to change how you see and your perspective. And that's one thing that's why Young Gifted Techie, that's why I love this, because you guys are getting the opportunity to learn different ways of how to manage and how to go about it. And then if you don't have the answer to the question, there go Harry Douglas, who on ESPN every morning. He grew up with me right here. He gonna come holler at y'all for a second. But these are the different things that we do every single day. We try to build athletes. This is a big part of us, is what we want to do. So, like they said, time management, making sure you got great study habits. And then more importantly, what's your goal? What do you want to become at the end of the day? What you want to be?
This is. We're gonna wrap it up on this note. So, football, like we've been touching on, football, the game does have to end. But with going through that journey, you meet a lot of people. See a lot of new faces on a day-to-day basis. How was like networking? How did who hold on, let me rephrase this. How many of your biggest opportunities came from who you knew instead of what you knew? Yeah. Anybody.
I'll quit.
60 seconds. As Kendra said in the beginning, your net worth is determined by your network. And your network are the people that are in your circle. And like being on a professional level, like all these guys are at the highest level, they're like one phone call away. And like it's 6 degrees of separation. So that makes it easy, right?
You asked how many opportunities were because of my networking with people. All of them. Straight up. Like my first opportunity in TV was because I sat next to a girl that wasn't a football player, a small white girl that had thick glasses. Ended up becoming my TV agent, my first TV agent. It's like, who would have thought, right? It's because I was uncomfortable to network, stay amongst community, and was just, authentic and saying, this is what I want to do. And so, man, it could be life-changing, right? Like, don't just stay doing the same thing like Tashar said.
Once again, this is crazy to me. So every single building that I've been into, it could be coaching, football, it all correlated from me playing the game, from people that I've met. And guys that do totally different things on the avenue of when you're in college, you meet guys and you see them all different type of fields. They work different type of fields. And so when you meet them, you have opportunity to do different things with them just because you played the game. They knew about you. So when you get a chance to meet them, it is the best thing that you can do. So when you guys meet teachers, and I always tell this to people, leave the place better than you left it. So when I go into a classroom, when I was on a football team, when I'm a part of a staff, I always try to leave things better when I left. And so the more you give, what Brandon said, the more you give, the more you receive. Hard work works. The power of example matters more than the example of power. The more you do, it's not what your mouth says, what your feet do. And so when your feet move in the right direction, it all works out. So then the people you see, they don't care how much you know. They see what you do on a day-to-day, and that's what empowers them to give you opportunity to work with them.
All right, thank y'all. That's it. That's all I got. Can we get a round of applause, please, for the